Oh, you already know what time it is. You already know. Welcome on back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. You know why you're here. I know why I'm here. And hopefully at this point in time, we all know why we're here. We are going to listen to the second side of Angel's Egg, Gong. We're going to move on. You've listened to the first side, which I also see is listed as Yin, side of the goddess. And I guess we're moving on to the second side, which is Yang, side of the fun gods. The masculine, I think they mispronounced that or miswrote that. Whoever wrote this, masculating side, I'd imagine that's supposed to say, but it doesn't quite say it. Anyways, it's been a couple days for me listening to the second side, but for you guys, it's probably been like at least a week. I don't know. Sometimes it takes me a while to get the videos out. I'm busy. I got a life, you know? But we are here now and hope that you guys are excited for the second side after the obviously spectacular first side there. Also, can I just say something super random? I'm here on Genius because this is where I pull up the lyrics so I can follow along, and sometimes they suggest stuff like on the side. Gong has an album called I See You from, I guess, 2014, and the album cover is awesome. Yeah, released 2014. Is it a good album? Because that album cover looks really, really cool. I'm going to put that on the screen if I remember to, because that's one of those album covers that immediately gets my attention. I don't know about the quality of it, but it looks really cool. Anyway, so let's move on into the second side, which does have one song that we have heard before, which is I Never Glid Before. And if I remember correctly, that's the first song from Gong that I ever heard, actually, here on this channel. So sometimes things come back around. I hope that you guys are ready to enjoy the second side. I'll let some of the songs run together just because they're short run times. And before we even get into the album, don't forget, if you enjoy what I do, press that like button before we even get started. You can follow me over on Twitter, support what I do on Patreon and all that other stuff. But I appreciate you spending some time with me. We're going to be here for a little bit of time, so thank you. Let's go ahead and begin with Flute Salad. It's going to be the first track. I got to find it here. There it is, Fruit Salad. Let's, not Fruit Salad, Flute Salad. So maybe there'll be a little star from Ian Anderson? Maybe not. All right, Flute Salad, let's go.
Noisette? Where is it?
That's a nice like keyboard line right behind that flute. That sounds wonderful. So cosmic and psychedelic and playing with your mind, playing with your feelings and sounds. Isn't this such an interesting way to open up the second side of the album? You flip your vinyl and this is what you're opened with. Adventure into a new world. We're moving on to the second song, Oily Way. Oily Way, this song. This is a very playful run in the music. skipping along. There you go. That big psychedelic.
Now you're here, now you're gone, and now you're back where you belong. Meet the wizard of the keys, and he'll reveal the mysteries of angels, eggs, and active doctors, radio gnome and love projectors. Then he'll point up in the sky, and you will see the teapots flying. Down the oily wayside, through the inner space you ride. Lots and lots of pothead pixies riding round in teapot taxis. On the planet Gong, they say, if everything goes wrong today, fill your teapot up with tea. Come and take a ride with me.
How crispy is that ride cymbal?
It's not the Milky Way. It's not the only way. It's not the English way.
There's that sax coming out.
Stop. Wait. Hey, look. High in the sky, the
Nice swing.
world you remember seems that we
And the flute guitar combination at this moment is wonderful.
the end of hate,
God, drumming is crazy.
war, death. You big daddy in your big sick city, gotta choose to lose your games now. Now you're here and now you're gone, but this ain't me that sings the song. But we the Gong band, it's enough to be the instruments of love, on which the octave doctors play. That you be one and all in one with Gong on earth, and find again the joys of going round the bed. Not the Milky Way. It's not the only one. It's not the English way.
Okay, it's moving into Outer Temple, I think was the next song. Let me just pause it for a moment just so we can kind of take a quick breath, and then we'll let like the next few tracks go together. Okay, so obviously Flute Salad was just like this kind of slow build, ambient, set the scene, set the plot, let's put our characters where they need to be and get everything moving. I like that. It was just a little bit of ambience, like I mentioned during it. You flip over the record, and that's what you're greeted with, and I think that that's a nice re-entry into the atmosphere of Planet Gong. Then, getting into Oily Way, this is pretty much like that first track here. I mean, it is that first track here on the second side of the album that's like that standout, right? Incredible drumming from Moreland. I mean, just listening to him is a joy. I love how crisp that ride cymbal is when you hear him in there. I don't know, I mentioned it during the song. That's why I talk now during the song, so I can get my thoughts out immediately because I forget a lot of things. But I love how crisp his drumming in there, how fast and yet graceful his drumming is as well. Can I tell you, his drumming is like a swan on a rocket. It's fast, it's intense, it's burning, but there's still that grace of a swan on there. It's elegant, right? Very jazzy, taking so many notes from jazz. Funk, of course. I mean, you can hear that in the bass. And then the guitar is just so nicely played in there. I was really enjoying the guitar and the saxophone I heard in there. Just like this great combination that, like, for myself before getting into prog bands, Canterbury, and really anything that I've explored here on the channel, I just never really quite thought like about saxophone playing alongside of guitar so well in like a rock-based music or flute even. I've definitely heard it and stuff. It just wasn't something that like stuck out to me as much. And just to hear that they were doing this, that they were this forward thinking, at this particular moment, and I guess you could say progressive at this time, I think is incredible. Hillage always comes out with those really nice lines, and like I said, everyone stands out. And I like how dynamic this track is as well. There's a lot of changes. So even though there's those charming moments in the music, those moments where the music kind of frolics, it always swings with a great rhythm. It always kind of throws you off your feet, but eventually rocks you back into beat. I think that is absolutely wonderful. Now you're here and now you're gong, which is hilarious. And now you're back where you belong. Meet the Wizard of the Keys and he'll reveal the mysteries of angels, eggs, and octave doctors, radio gnome, or gnome, and love projectors. Then he'll point up in the sky. You will see the teapots flying down the oily way. Now, one of you had mentioned this, and I also happen to see this on the Wikipedia page, but for the actual vinyl, I guess they have like the whole story kind of laid out a little bit better so you can kind of follow the plot or whatever's happening. But I'm just telling you, from me reading this and everything, I have no idea what plot is happening. I'm just on this psychedelic, hallucinogenic, mushrooms probably involved, journey, or whatever is happening. I'm just here for the journey. I'm on Planet Gong. I don't need explanations. I'm just here for the tea. Down the oily way you slide, through the inner space you ride. Lots and lots of pothead pixies riding around in teapot taxis, which we, of course, saw on Flying Teapot. On the Planet Gong, they say, if everything goes wrong today, fill your teapot up with tea. Come and take a ride with me down the oily way. Now, what could that oily way represent? So many things, but I think of it just as the metaphorical passage from one place, wherever you were, to the present in which you are now on Planet Gong. Like I said, breathing up their atmosphere. Oily way, not the only way. Oily way, it's not the only way. It's not the English way. So let's move on in this wonderful album into the next few tracks. I'm probably going to let Outer Temple, Inner Temple, Percolations probably all run together. That'll hit about 4 minutes. Yeah, because they're shorter tracks. So let's let those three run together, and we'll talk about it after. Let me back up just a smidge. Back on the oily way, and then we'll let it get into that. Let me just, hold on, back up right about here. There you go. Perfect, right? And isn't this kind of catchy? That like that? That's really catchy.
Good evening.
Well, that's a slowdown.
We are representing the Hubble Gumble Tea Company.
You hear how moody this is? You sink into this.
Would you like some tea?
I had some kratom for the first time today, actually, and some chai tea. I didn't feel anything. I heard him take that sip. I like how this is like that initiation into the journey. Further down the rabbit hole we go. Like the outer temple is your body, the inner temple is your soul. Maybe. But I like how it presents this going through the specific gates. You could say. Mallory just hit me. Oh, this is swallowing the tea, and now it's hitting you. Oh, what a groovy slowdown, and Mallory hitting the sax with the intensity. Ambiance in this downtown scene. How are they creating that ambience in the back? Is that keys, chorus of key-based instrument? That's amazing. this space that we are in right now, don't you just want to stay right here for a while? That's sexy. Jeez. What a track that was. That was awesome. Move next track. Percolations. This is like your hangover. I wonder what's happening here. I don't know exactly what's happening there on Percolations. It sounds like, I guess they went through their temple and there was a dungeon in the temple. I don't know what kind of dungeon, just that there was, sounds like whipping. I don't know if it's good whipping or bad whipping. Let's talk about Outer Temple, Inner Temple though. Those are the two tracks. That was amazing. Actually, I want to talk about Inner Temple. Mallerby. Hitting the sax. Hitting it. The transition from outer to inner. Talking about the tea and taking the tea. You hear the sipping in the back. And then we transition into Inner Temple. Like I said, taken from the outside, the flesh, the physical, and moving down to the soul, the spiritual, the metaphysical, moving down. And you can feel that because the music slows down. It hits a slower tempo. Hits deeper, sexier, saxier, more psychedelic, just like, ooh, it swirls in you. The ambience underneath, I was trying to figure out what is making that sound. It could be, because it sounded like just like an electronic wind. Could be a keyboard-based instrument. Could be, I mean, it could be guitar for all I know. I don't think it is. I think it's something keyboard-based. But however they're doing that, just absolutely wonderful. Like I said, Mallerby's the star of that track. But the bass playing, oh, boom, boom, boom. Just that, that's that deep pulsing rhythm that you want standing out in the track there. That was just absolutely wonderful. And then, like I said, I don't know what's happening in Percolations, but I guess there's some percolating going on. But just for the sake of talking about it again, because I think it is worth mentioning, let me go back to that transition between outer and inner. Just listen to this. It's hot. It simmers. Don't tell me anything. Don't tell me anything. You hear how they were boiling the pot of water? They were boiling it. Started whistling. Open it up, pour your tea, brew your leaves, take that sip, let that warm go down. And then all of a sudden it hits. That's that moment. What an awesome transition that is between those tracks. I mentioned it during this track, but slightly, this is outside of the music or whatever, but I had kratom tea. Well, it was kratom brewed with coffee or chai. No, chai. That's what it was. For the first time today. You're supposed to feel something, but I didn't really feel anything. I don't know. I mean, it was fine. It was more of a social thing. Anyways, but man, that was I just love that transition. I mean, wasn't that like, I know you guys can't talk back to me, but you can talk back to me. Like, don't feel bad speaking to your screen right now. Talking to me. It's you and me right now. Wasn't that a great transition? Want to hear it one more time? Listen to how they stop everything for a brief moment, release ambience, drum roll please, into that step from the bass, and then the sax begins to blow. I'm just saying. Let's move on into the next track here. After Percolations, we'll probably do these next three just one by one. I never glid before. Since I've already heard it, I'm not gonna skip it, but I'm just not gonna really talk about it as much because I've done all my talking before. But we'll at least talk about that. But before we get to that one, let's get into Love Is How You Make It. Let's go. Like the little blocks, little marimba or something. It's like almost a bossa nova pattern, but it's not quite hitting it. There's like one extra
I
beat.
left my body on my bed. I flew away inside my head to dive right through the moon and find a perfect world inside my mind. I want to take you there, smiling.
This kind of sounds Beatles-ish, doesn't it? Like a little bit.
That is why I sing this song and why there is a band called Gong.
Oh, there you go. Fourth wall broken.
Our heads are calling, ringing bells and singing tales of how this world could be if only we could learn to melt together, make such lovely weather. Maybe we will blow it like in bygone ages. Maybe we will make it if we can. You'll be there, we'll be there.
Oh, jeez. How did they come right crashing in so perfectly? Pierre just has like the best drum beats ever. I love this little, I'm assuming marimba, glockenspiel, something. I like that little pickup here in the end. And then, of course, it travels into Glid. Okay, so Love Is How You Make It is not only just a great track on its own musically, but lyrically, I like how this is kind of like their fourth wall break. I feel like this is them explaining their band in a sense, why they're making the music that they make, what inspires them, perhaps even to an extent like what their goal is as a band, what they want their music to say to people and to speak to people. I love how you have pretty much like it's mallet-based instruments that are kind of leading the melody throughout the whole track. I'm going to look it up real quick, but I'm imagining like vibraphone, marimba, glockenspiel. I do see marimba, I see vibes, I do see glockenspiel. So you just have like that is creating the whole melody. And I just really think that that's kind of interesting in a way, but also it kind of lends itself to me, this is just how I hear it, to a more like innocent edge. There's something childish, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean like a childish innocence into the way that that's being played, especially in the beginning. It reminds me of, like, I don't know, like a starry night and like a kid trying to go to sleep holding his teddy bear. I don't know why, but it just makes me feel a certain kind of innocence towards it, which kind of makes sense with what they're saying in the lyrics here. If you bear with me, that is why I sing this song and why there is a band called Gong. Voices in our heads are calling, ringing bells and singing tales. How this world could be if only we could all melt together, make such lovely weather. So if all of us could get together and just make things right, melt together, come together, then things would be really good for everybody, and we could learn love. You know, love is how you make it, and it is what you make if you want more positivity in the world. You have to put love into the world. You have to plant your seeds of love. And I think that, like, that kind of works really well with that musical element of the vibes, the marimba, etc., etc. And then the way that the band comes in, just with 1 minute left, I was actually expecting the band to kind of be drumless, but no, Moreland had to get in there. And he comes up with these perfect beats that, like, just, like, so well accentuate the music. You know, it could just go simple, could go whatever, but no. He puts a back on it. He puts some spine to that. And then they drop out and back to the mallet-based instrumentation. Takes a little bit of a leap at the end, and we know where that's going from further on. Just to finish off some of the lyrics here, going back to the first verse, which carries on from the temples, I left my body on the bed, I flew away inside my head, to dive right through the moon and find a perfect world inside my mind. I want to take you there, smiling through your hair. And of course, you know, the journey of the outer temple, inner temple, and now we're having this out-of-body experience, this astral projection going on, you know, leaving your body behind and going on this journey of mentality and spirituality. Now, the end is, you know where the pothead pixies are, give a little wink, you know where they are. Now we're going to find out where they are, because we're going to listen to the next track here on the album, I Never Glid Before, which I've glid before because I've heard this track already. I'm just putting that out there again, but let's give it a listen. We'll do a little bit of a talking to it after. Let's go. That's such a fun moment in the music that you look forward to every time that it comes around. The band does a great job of taking like this repeated riff motif, but then breaking into it with such fun. Here's the best part. Woo! Is it, like, you hear that first half of the song, and there's so many moments that are going on, so catchy, so fun, extremely inventive. And into the solo. okay to hear the horning and guitar back there carrying on that big rhythm, pumping it up. And they let this moment go into something a little bit more spacey.
Love
This is
that
so
you're
good.
after, the craft of a hero will buy. Just sign so long you may glide with a tiny undertone. Passion is a
You know you need a little bass shine as much as possible. And I feel like they slightly alternate the tempo a little bit, like they slow it down and just like speed it up and I love when he screams out with the saxophone amongst these whispers. Here we go. I could have, maybe. Gotta wait for that break. It's coming. Okay. Like I said, we've already heard this before. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about this track. It's a perfect track. I have a bias, I guess you could say, towards it because it was the first Gong track that I ever heard. But let's be honest, it's the best track from Gong, in my opinion, that I've ever heard. It remains on my playlist. It remains a track I listen to all the time. I love it. It's so fun. It tells me immediately what the band's about. They're serious musicians with charm. They don't take themselves too seriously. They're kind of free and allowed to explore different spaces that I don't think a lot of other bands cover, and that just allows them and gives them an edge towards what they do. Their stories, you may not know what's going on, but you kind of get a sense of what's going on. I don't even know. Like I said, I've talked about the song, so I just feel like I don't need to spend a lot of time resting its laurels on it, so to speak. But it's an amazing track. I was trying not to talk too much during it, but you have to. I love all the tempo changes, the way the music slows down, and as they even mentioned, goes in slow motion at certain moments, and then speeds up. Everyone is on fire here. Just I don't know. Literally, it's a perfect track. It's to me as perfect as you can get. Period. That's it. I'm not going to go through all the lyrics here, but just to get a little bit so we have context for this part of the album. The light gets stronger and all our eyes look yonder to see what's going on, but that's all right. You'll soon be out of sight and surfing to the sun. The moon wheels turning, the waves unfurling. You're learning you're zero at the center of the whirlpool. You're Aquaman. In your hand is a watering can. I now, or can I not believe it to be? The fun god's winking and we're all blinking and thinking we're sinking in the sea. You're in your glider, the tide is riding inside her, is turning with the moony like the sky boy. There's a lot going on. There's a decent amount of going on. And of course I never lived before. And you're going on this journey. You're gone. You're out of there. Let's move on into the last track here on the album. Eat That Phone Book Coda. I don't know what that means. Let's go ahead and give it a listen. We'll talk about it after.
What are we gonna do, bud?
Eat that phone book. Now, if you want to know just how to tune into the vibes of the planet,
What?
nobody else can tell you. Everybody got their own way to do it.
A little scat. Yesterday, I climbed a tree near a tomb. I like changing into this walk the dog kind of stuff.
The planet was, I realized, one of the spots before my eyes. Mamma mia, I pray for a banana. Banana,
No, no, no. It sounds so funny saying. This is the band winding down. This album is so telling about the band, and I feel like you can look at the microcosm of this song and get so much of the band's personality once again. They go on this big, funnily told, fably, philosophical, psychological, psychedelic journey. And then the way they end it, so silly. Bye-bye. I just really love how the band, like, they what's the term? Tongue in cheek. Like, they know what they're doing. They know what they're saying. They're being silly, but like I said before, just serious musicianship behind it all. The track is kind of musically divided into like 3 separate parts, each of them kind of a coming down from the previous. You know, the first is kind of big, then it kind of gets medium, then it gets into a small, little more intimate moment there. And of course, the band executes all the maneuvers, you know, beautifully, wonderfully throughout. But I just really feel like this is such a perfect closer to the album because you really, like I said, I can't help but feel and see the band on stage and just how they kind of close their show. They're like, okay, bye-bye. Like, no, so nonchalant. Okay, we're done. Out of here. Bye. I just think that's hilarious. I like how there's some scatting in this track as well. Oompa zoom da zoom, a cup of hubba dubba, oompa zoom da zoom. That's kind of fun to say. What are we going to do then? Eat that phone book. Now, if you want to know just how to tune into the vibes of the planet, nobody else can tell you. Everybody's got their own way to do it. all you got to do, or all you got to do is get yourself together. Don't do it. Then when you're gong, you can't go wrong because you become the song. C'est la planète. I guess that means this is the planet. It's the planet. Yesterday I climbed a tree nearer to the gong to be. The planet was, I realized, one of the spots before my eyes. This journey, this planet that you were trying to reach, oh, it was just a spot in your eyes. And then comes the funniest part. The, ooh, mommy, mommy, my, I pray for a banana. The way that he sings it is just so hilarious. I couldn't help but laugh when I heard him doing that. That's really funny. Isn't this album awesome? I was going to say that the first side of the album, I mean, it's incredible. And I think I will still say the first side of the album is just like, I loved it from the first go. But this side has that outer temple, inner temple, and then with, of course, I Never Glid Before. I think, no doubt, I Never Glid Before is my favorite track on the album. Outer temple, inner temple, other side of the sky, just because the way that everything is introduced, I really enjoyed that. I don't know. Incredible album. Now the question is, for future Gong, do we move forward, which I believe is the final track in the Flying Teapot trilogy. I'm pulling up their discography. Do we move forward into You, which has an interesting album cover with a little bit of a look like an Aztec temple or something with some spaciness going on, some nice colors? Or do we go back to an album that a lot of you guys had recommended, Camembert Electrique? I don't know. But for right now, I am enjoying what we just did, what we just listened to. Hope that you guys enjoyed the music as well. I'm pretty sure you did. If you're at this point, you had a good time. So please let me know your thoughts on the album down below. What's your favorite track? Where does this album rank amongst their others? I've only heard two, obviously, but I think that Angel's Egg is, for me, I immediately do prefer Angel's Egg to Flying Teapot, which obviously it's still a good album. But if I'm ranking off of two, then I'm putting this one up a little bit higher. But let me know your thoughts down below. Comments. Follow me over on Twitter. Support the channel over on Patreon if you feel so inclined. Otherwise, I hope that you enjoyed the music. Come on back tomorrow, and I hope to see you all then, guys. Bye.